Hi, good morning, all.
Hi, good morning.
Is are using headphone or?
Will you say
Good morning, Seshu Kumar. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes. Yeah, hi Ajit. I can hear you. Hope I'm
Okay.
audible.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you clear. Yeah.
Yeah. I think people are joining
We'll
in.
wait
Let's
for
wait.
2 more minutes.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see.
let's wait for 2 more minutes and
Sure.
then we'll start.
Hi Ajit, the sharing option is not enabled for me right now.
Okay, I'll enable
Okay,
it.
I just informed that, yeah, at that time in order to avoid the confusions.
No problem. So,
I think we should also get that host permission because even I don't have the sharing permission.
yeah, now can you
Yeah,
check?
now it came. Yeah, now it is. Now it's there.
So what we'll do is I'll just quickly uh, explain the agenda for today and set the context, and then probably we'll continue with the sessions.
Sure.
So, uh, so what next? So, once again, thank you for joining early morning, 11 o'clock, that too on a Wednesday. So, we'll further fine tune these things because it's just a start. We really don't know which date, time, day of week, everything will be comfortable for majority of the people. So sooner or later we'll start changing all these things based on how it comes up. So the more we have more people, right? That's when we can hear from more people and then make decisions. So as of now, it's a small start. So this is the second meetup, monthly meetup. We'll also decide whether it can be monthly or fortnightly or weekly. Based on everything is based on number of people we have, because everybody is working. They have their own daily things. So it is definitely not that easy to take time. uh, so once again, welcome. So today's meetup, again, it's a virtual meetup. Uh, and today's agenda is to have two sessions. One is from Mr. Seshu Kumar, who is from Wind River, and he'll be talking on StarlingX topic. So that should be definitely a very good session and lot of insights. That is what is we are looking forward to. And there will be another session on OpenStack side, just an introduction to the Magnum project and how Kubernetes container orchestration engine works within OpenStack. So this is just a small lineup for today as technical sessions. So, Seshkumar, how long do you think you want this session to go?
I mean, it depends. I mean, if you want me to cut in half an hour, I can do that. If you want to
Okay.
have more questions and develop it, we can even do that also. I mean, I can go as per the interest of the audience. No problem.
Okay. So for now, these are the two formats I have in mind. Probably we'll take feedback from everybody and then decide for that's for the future meetups, I'm saying. So one
Sure.
will be the 25-minute plus 5-minute format, that is a 30-minute format, and another format will be 40 minutes plus 5 minutes Q&A format. That makes 40. So if it is a hands-on workshop or anything, probably it
Mm.
may require a bigger window. So we can decide on this. So now, if we want to have 45 minutes, yes, we can. No issues. If you think 30 minutes, we can wind up. Either way, it's fine for now.
Sure. I mean, let's see. Let's try to see how it starts because we are a small group and it's good that we all are. I mean, it's better to have a small group so people can actually know each other also.
Right, right.
And one request would be, if you don't mind, I mean, guys, if you can switch on the camera, we know who we are, right? Who's who.
Correct.
Again,
That's
it's not a compulsion; it's just a request, so that it's good to actually see the faces and talk to people when we are in this small community, small group. So yeah, I can surely do in 25 minutes plus 5 minutes. That should be really
okay.
fine, Ajit, as you requested. And if people have any questions, maybe we can extend it further also.
Definitely, definitely. So you want to start with your introduction? That will be great.
Intro, yeah, sure. Let me start off then. Hi guys, I am Seshu Kumar Mudiganti. I've been in short, I've been called as Seshu in the community. I've been associated with LFN, with CNCF, with LFH from 2016-17 onwards. I've actually had multiple roles in terms of open source, especially I'm talking of open source roles and all. And now, of course, I'm also a TSC of the StarlingX in OpenInfra. I've been TSC for ONAP to start with. Then I was part of the Open Mano. I was also part of the Nephew. I'm also part of Nephew right now. I'm also part of ORAN SC. I'm the PTL of ORAN ONAP SO Service Orchestration. I'm also the PTL of ORAN SC SMO Service Management Orchestration. I have been also been a board of members for LFN MAC, the Marketing Advisory Council. Apart from this, I also am a contributor to multiple projects, StarlingX being one of them. Of course, I'm the TSC right now for StarlingX too. I've been contributing to Kubernetes. I've been contributing to LFH, Aquino projects on the open source side. On the work-wise, actually, I'm right now principal technologist in Wind River. I've been with Wind River from 2022. Before that, I was 16 years with Huawei, where I joined Huawei as a software engineer, and I quit. I mean, I took a VRS from Huawei as a chief architect from there. Yeah, that's about me actually, in short, I would say.
Great to know, Sheshu. Lot of things, lot of experience. So definitely, I think it's an inspiration to have you. We can learn more how you manage so many things along with your work. Most of the things are related to the work, but then yes, still you need to have proper time management to handle so many things, right? So that's quite interesting and motivating for youngsters. Definitely. So they have a lot of lot to learn from you. So
Thank you. Yeah.
uh,
By the way, just on the time management, I'll just tell you when passion drives everything, right? There's no limit. That's
correct.
what I've seen. I mean, I've got introduced to open source back in. In fact, I can also give one topic on open source journey because I've done it once in a big forum, and it was I received very positive response for that too. So
Okay.
once your passion drives it, I mean, once you see what is happening in open source, how people collaborate, how good it is to actually come out of the box of a company and open yourself for the entire world, right?
Right.
The sky's the limit for this, and that was what was inspired me. That has actually been inspiring right now, and I'm here because of that. Actually, I'll tell you in
Yeah,
short.
you get a lot of insights from others, very
Very true.
invaluable insights, and always sharing what we know. That gives happiness internally, and it's always a knowledge sharing that helps people move, you know, on their be it on a professional career side or the professional side or the personal side also, right?
Very true.
There'll be a lot of improvement personally also. So, having said that, yes, it's quite. We would love to hear that session as well in the upcoming meetups,
Sure.
and we'll see how the the community can get help. So let's not waste time. I just had one more slide. Okay, I'll
Sure. You
explain this
want to
roadmap,
stay?
right?
Sure.
Uh, so this is the roadmap I just want to discuss. We'll finish the session and come back. That'll be good.
That's okay. Maybe you can start with the roadmap. It's good to actually
Okay.
set the roadmap first. Yeah.
Okay. So is the screen visible? No?
No, no, it's not
No.
shared.
Okay, one second.
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. So this is the roadmap. I have it in mind. This is very like kind of a draft. Not too many things, not very ambitious, but still uh, achievable goals, which is listed out here. After discussing with people like Seshu who have a lot of experience already, we will have more insights. We'll add more to the roadmap. So now it's a very small plan. Yes, the immediate thing is to expand and see how more and more interest coming in, more and more people volunteering, then creating a pipeline of speakers so that we have the continuity with, because for any, Seshu can definitely agree to this. Anything we do, the passion is number one. That passion should not be that initial passion alone, right? That everybody has it initially, then slowly it dies off. So
Yes.
that is something will not help. So being persistent and having a perseverance and taking it along at a regular pace will help. So we should have a regular pool of speakers and organizers. Say we cannot depend on one person to always be available. So a team work will definitely help. So we need more volunteers and organizers who can keep the show running, right? There shouldn't be any dependency on any one person or a group of people, so which obviously will not work in a long term. So that kind of team structure should be created within our user group. That is something next. And few events which will mark our user group also with the other global user groups. We can see in Asia itself, there are a lot of user groups which are very active. Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Korea. So we should also have a very good mark. It was going good, but at one point it had a nosedive. So we are trying to revive it. So that's the thing. So the first good event to start with would be the 15th birthday of OpenStack. So every city along globally is already they've decided. We are yet to decide. So probably we'll target somewhere between by July or August. And once we have a slightly bigger team, I think it'll be very good to have a physical event, birthday celebrations, either in Bangalore or in any other city, all those things. So that is a good event to start with. And call for papers, yes, this is just a sharing information. The people who are interested, yes, they can submit their papers, and last date is
So where is
13th.
it happening this time in Europe?
This time it's in Paris, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Paris, yeah, Paris in France. So that's the Europe Summit.
And
um,
when is the summit? Sorry, when is the summit?
that is in June. Sorry,
No, June is
June
the
is
last
the
day for ACFP,
last day
but when is
for,
the summit?
I don't know the exact month. Maybe
Because it
July or
usually
August.
happens in July, August. I'm just worried it should not conflict with that OpenStack 15th birthday celebration.
Right. We will find it out. We will
Yeah.
figure it out. No issues. So this is a small roadmap as of now. We'll start discussions in Discord also, continue our discussions offline also whenever we get time, and then we'll fine tune all these things. We'll add, modify, or remove things as we agree to, and we'll go ahead. So that's all. I'll not eat up more of the time now. So just sharing, I mean, stopping my screen share. Over to you, Seshu. Please
Sure.
carry on with your session.
Sure. Hey, hi guys. This is Seshu Murmudinganti. I have already introduced myself. So yeah, basically I am into multiple roles here, and here my topic of interest is to share with you or discuss with you further about intelligent edge. So when you're saying intelligent edge, many people have actually edge itself is a very abstract word. I would say there are a lot of definitions, a lot of things from the industry experts across the globe of their own format of what edge is. We'll try to have a view of how to make that intelligent edge. It's a concept, right? It's end of the day, it's a concept. So as a concept, how intelligent edge can be, can be derived, or how can we achieve intelligent edge through StarlingX? That's the topic which I want to discuss today. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. Yeah, so what we'll see here is we will see what is Intelligent Edge, challenges in edge computing, what is StarlingX. We'll just introduce because not many of you may know StarlingX. I'll be more. How many of you know StarlingX? If you can raise a hand, please. Great. Okay, so we have. Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, so it's good to know that many people actually know StarlingX, a few of you, I would say, right? And we'll also talk about how StarlingX, it powers the Intelligent Edge. That's one key concept which we'll try to adjust. Then the use case and benefits of Intelligent Edge, future trends of how it is, and finally conclusion question answers. I'll also try to actually answer the topic which Ajit was talking about as to how to contribute, right? One of the major things in open source is contribution. So we'll also try to talk to that part of it. Yeah. So if you see the digital transformation wave, we started our journey from virtualization, right? I mean, deploy, manage VMs at scale. So that's how we all started our our digital transformation, where the analog devices, the physical PNFs were actually getting virtualized. Then the VNFs came in. And before even VNFs, the first thing of that was to have a virtual machine. So machines were converted into virtual, where the CPU, RAM, and the storage were taken on a on a on a slice of the existing thing that was virtually brought together, and then we had VMs. Then came SDNs, the software defined network, which again is the key of having SD-WAN based, your virtualized NFVO based. All these things were put together. So this was a start. This regime actually had a big, I would say, a revolution in the entire way we approached software and we approached hardware or we approached systems. Before that, software was embedded into a system. It was defined. It was confined only to the system alone, right? So when this SDN and NFVO came into picture, NFV to start with, yeah, virtualization is actually what. Then orchestration came into picture. We had a lot of trends of it, and then we had immense possibilities, or I can say infinite possibilities of how these things can actually evolve. That's the part which also led to public and private cloud integrations, both on-prem, we had hybrid. In fact, we also had hybrid where it was a combination of private and public cloud integrations also. All these things were going good. And then we came to the point of having this different sectors of the computation to be taken, right? We were talking about computation in the large scale, everything at one shot, I mean, at one centralized thing. Then we talked about distributing that into different formats. Then we came to edges, right? Where we are talking about data centers at different levels. These data centers, again, depending on the kind of use case that we are talking about or the kind of usage, the scenarios where they are be deployed, they were actually coming with different scales of it. So that is actually what we talked about, enabling the scalable data centers, depending on the use case, depending on the kind of traffic it takes, depending on the kind of the users it's going to serve. This is the evolution of digital transformation wave. So when I talk about digital transformation wave, what is important is the topic of today's discussion, Intelligent Edge. So as definition says, Intelligent Edge refers to the practice of adding greater compute capacity at the network where data is generated, enable local collection, analysis, and collect and actions based upon the data. So anyways, definition is there. I'll not be reading it out. In short, what I'm talking about is we are actually adding more intelligence to the edge. So from the user perspective, right? So we are talking about last mile where we are actually enabling the compute power. We are giving more intelligence to the system there. Before that, for everything, we used to come to the central cloud, right? We used to actually talk about everything happens in central cloud. That was edge was only the thin client where we are talking about actually having only the UI part of it alone. Then we thought, okay, no, that's not enough. We have to add more and more things to this. So evolution of this also leads to something called IoT based, right? We know IoT devices which have there, like your washing machines, you have everything smart these days, right? Your TVs are getting smart, our phones are getting smart, washing machines, refrigerators, every home appliance is getting smart. In fact, we have also getting into a trend where cars are getting smart. So this word smart actually is a very common denominator we see everywhere. It's a very common addition to every device that we talk about, right? In fact, now we are also talking about smart cities. We are talking about autonomous cars, which actually has its own ADAS-based device and all. So it actually detects how is the positioning of the driver, how much is the distance between the front car and back car and all that. I mean, so you will know that in a traffic situation, you can actually maneuver yourself very well. So all these things are benefits which are coming out of this specific Intelligent Edge. How it can be achieved is it reduces latency because you actually don't require to. For the major part of having a smart thing is that it has to have the ability to take decision instantaneously at that instant itself. So it doesn't require to go to someone else to ask and come back. That's what the traditional edge has been. So here, what we are talking about is that you should actually have the least amount of time it takes to take a decision and then give the response back. That's where it is reduced latencies. Then enhance privacy and security because you have your own thing. Of course, this is again a double-edged word for sure. Security is something a double-edged word with intelligent edge because as the intelligence of the systems increases, it becomes more responsibility for us to make sure that we add more device more secure. That becomes the de facto rule that has to be applied on top of it. It is, as I said, it increases security from the perspective that your device will become smart, that it will only allow the users who are, who have the authenticity to do it. Your face recognitions, your finger recognition, your biometric recognition, all these things start with, just to start some of them, right? On your mobile phones, as you see. Before that, mobile phones were not locked. Anyone can actually use anyone's mobile phone, and it was a big mishap if you talk about a decade or a little more than that, right? 2 decades and all that. Before that, even though cell phones were there, the device was open for everyone. So that's a part of security and privacy which we are talking about. And then the most important thing is real-time analytics. So you will know exactly what is happening at that instant. Your values are instantaneous. You will actually have digital feedback loop which runs across the system, and you will know what is happening right now. For example, let's take the very thing which is happening, Operation Sindoor, right? I'm sure all of us have actually gone through it. It's a pride moment for being Indian to see Operation Sindoor, the way India retaliated. It's no more going to wait for someone else to actually come hit us and go back. This India will not wait for anyone. This is going to come back. All this is happening because of the information model, right? You see, the way the military systems could actually trace out the terrorist infrastructure, right? The military infrastructure and hit it without even crossing the border is something which is happening only because of the intelligence that has been added. So all these things are happening because of the way the infrastructure is. We have satellites working on top where it's actually happening at geostationary part of 36,000 feet. From there to the radar systems, to the airfare, your airplanes, jets which are actually going on, to the system which is sitting at there are some places specifically where we are doing remote monitoring and all. We have drones which are built in Bangalore, which are actually, they say the Bangalore system actually built the drones, which are going and self-destroying at specific targets, right? These all things are happening on a specification, and that is actually showing how the warfare will be in future. It's scary also, yes, but the technology is also actually providing you the way, a path for this to happen, right? So real-time, automated, autonomous, sensing, predictive, connecting, all these things are the terminologies that you'll be hearing across the system. And together is what we'll be having a intelligent edge. Any questions, please feel free to ask. The applications of this are, of course, healthcare, the most important. I want to put healthcare on top because that's the most important thing that we should actually have from Intelligent Edge. India, though we are talking about development and all, there are still a lot of places which are remote. We require proper medication to be reaching to those places. This mobility vans that you talk about, where we have the mobile hospitals, right? If that hospital has everything, I mean, if we can make that hospital intelligent enough, then we don't require, and the last mile connectivity to it, that it can actually take decisions on it. The doctors over there, we don't require to place the real-time doctors into it. A remote doctor, I mean, a doctor sitting somewhere in the city can actually even serve the patients at the remote place. Even those things can be brought in. Then that becomes a much more better usage of this healthcare, of this, this specific propaganda or this specific concept, right? Healthcare is one important thing that can be benefited from this. Better security and surveillance, we talked about this. Security and surveillance, I'm not just talking about home, I'm also talking about the nation. I'm talking about a specific area. I'm talking about surveillance as in the complete zone. It could be enterprise level, it could be national defense and security, it could be a home security, it could be a community security. All those things are possible out of this. Industry IoT, this is where we started Industry 4.0, right? Industry 4.0 actually had a lot of requirements when it comes to these specifications. So predictive maintenance, we had to actually, instead of seeing something failing, we can actually do something before even it fails. That's where the predictive maintenance comes into picture. So you don't, you'll be more proactive to work on it. You don't require to be reactive. That's part of having predictive maintenance. Then autonomous vehicles, V2X, we'll talk about that. I have actually put one more slide into it. In fact, there are a lot of things happening on V2X, vehicle-to-vehicle communication. V2X stands for vehicle-to-vehicle communication, where instead of your device, just your car being monotonous, transport from A to B, your car also will have intelligence about what is happening across. It can actually suggest you about the traffic jams which are actually ahead. It can suggest you about the potholes, the kind of road terrain that you're actually entering into. It can also connect you back to home, saying that you will be knowing on a theft and all. If something happens, you can actually know where the car is. Sometimes when you go to big malls, you will be confused as to where the car is parked, right? To small instance to that, to a big thing about you being, you can send your car. In fact, how many of you have actually been traveling to MWC? Any of you have traveled to MWC, guys? Hello? Did anyone got a chance to MWC? Okay. So in MWC, there was a use case where they were showing a driverless car. Okay. The biggest problem in Europe, especially today, is that if you go to all these metropolitan cities of Europe, the cities like Paris or Amsterdam and all that, parking is a big issue. And people actually come. Most of the people who come there are coming on visitor. They are visitor traffic who come a specific time. They'll actually have a specific conference or a meeting and then they go back, right? Or the tourists who come to the places. So the biggest problem for them is actually one is about being able to find a parking space and being able, even if you hire a car for yourself, it's very tough for you to actually find a parking space and park it and go back. So the solution that they have actually found, one of the companies has actually come up with a solution there. They were saying driverless car. So what you do is you hire a cab, you take it, you drive it to a specific place where you want, and then you come out of the car. The car will be then brought back into the nearest hub, which is actually there, right? So they'll actually, the car itself will be driving back, the cab will be driving back to a nearest hub. It will park itself till you call it back again. So the advantage of this is you don't require a cab driver. I mean, here, of course, in India, the biggest advantage is we have a lot of manpower. But in Europe and all, it's not possible to have a cab driver. It's very, very expensive for you to have a cab driver, right? So instead of you having a cab driver who can actually take care of it and park into a specific parking area, the car itself can actually find the right parking area. While you do your stuff, you do your shopping, or you do your entertainment, or you do your business, the car will actually find its own slot. And once you're done, when she call you back, the car is going to come back for you to pick up and then drive up further. So this is actually what is also a use case that has come out of it for the autonomous vehicles. So all these things are possibilities of intelligent edge. Right? Guys, I'm going a little detailed. If you feel you have any questions or you want to make it fast, please let me know so that we can devise it accordingly. Yes, so this is actually, I want to give you some statistics of different forums, which I actually talk about. So they say, I don't even want to talk about a number. That's what I said, that's billions. So that is the kind of IoT device connections that are expected in this decade, So that is incompressible, right? I mean, you can think of how many devices are actually born, we will actually have the connectivity. It will become an internet of its own, right? So many billions of devices are expected to come within the next couple of years. In fact, they are saying this was anticipated a little earlier, but now they are saying it is actually more than what they is anticipated. So many IoT devices are actually enabled to have the connectivity, and that becomes 79.4 zettabytes of information is actually what is flowing to this. So what is happening with all these things? I'm talking about robotics, the aeronautical drones, the wind systems, the smart energy systems, autonomous vehicles, surveillance, mobile phones, all these things, right? So you can see India when we started. In fact, I can tell you one instance where my dad used to work for BSNL. Back in 2002, he actually said one thing, that there's a dream. His dream was to actually have every person to have a mobile phone. Those days we used to have one phone. When I started, I mean, I started to have phone at my home when I was in my school. I was a primary school, and we used to have one phone for the entire street. I'm sure most of you should have faced it, right? One phone for the entire street. So all the street members in that area used to give that phone as their phone number, right, to have a communication. And from there to what we are right now, in span of, I would say, 20 years, right, 25 years, you can see every individual actually has their own phone, and it's impossible for us to expect without our phone, right? Phone becomes integral part of our day-to-day life. So you can see from where to where the transformation happened. And if you talk about a century back, whatever we're doing today, that should be magic, right? People should have not been imagining that a small device which is handheld can actually make you feel what is happening other side. You can call a guy miles away without any any wires or something and any communication. You can just call from a small device in your hand, and that the other guy can actually respond instantaneously on that. All these things are miracles, if you talk about, right, which become a daily part of our life. So this is the evolution which we're talking about, and this is the start. What they're talking about: smart electricity, they're talking about smart cities, they're talking about smart connectivity, healthcare being there. We're talking about robotics actually in home. Now that we know robo mops are there, but there'll be very soon a robo. You'll have a butler to your home who will do everything for you. All the chores of the houses will be done by the robots themselves, right? These all are possibilities. In fact, they are working on it. As we talk, we are seeing many companies are coming up with these startup ideas where they are trying to avoid it. Okay, so you see the kind of market it has, it's huge. This is unlimited market, right? And people are ready to spend on that. You can see this is the amount of money that has been spent, also billions of dollars, which is being spent on infrastructure and the technology innovations on this specific case. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is the market which is future trend, and this is a market where we have a lot of potential for us to have innovations added. Okay. Again, one more statistics coming out that 70% of GDP growth between now and 2030 globally is actually happening through robotics, autonomous machines, and all. That's coming from PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then of course Cooper House, and then of course we are talking about Forbes also. Forbes says 60% of business leaders are putting plans in place to succeed the world filled with smart automation and connection machines. That's what I've been talking about, right? 16% already has been investing and performing strongly on this space. And of course, DeepSeek, we just saw it. We were talking about ChatGPT a lot. DeepSeek came and DeepSeek algorithm shook everything. Now we are actually talking about India-based AI system also. Geo is working on its own thing. India is working on something else also. So every nation actually is coming up with their own intelligent system itself. So you can think of the kind of evolution that's happening, right? Homegrown, intelligent, I would say agent is actually what they're all working on. So all these things which we talked about so far is actually the other side of the grass, which is greener, right? But how do you achieve it? Because is it that easy to achieve everything? No, actually, unfortunately, the answer is no, right? It's not a complete smooth path. It's a cakewalk. No, not at all. We have so much of issues that are possible in this path of us. So what and all are the things are actually connectivity infrastructure you require to have the kind of infrastructure which is there. Talking of infrastructure, one big problem of India, actually, we talk about smart cars, right? Or we talk about not smart cars, so electric cars. So electric cars, when you talk about, the biggest problem for Indians opting for electric cars is the infrastructure, right? So it takes 6 to 8 hours for you to actually charge a car completely, and the range which you get is around 400 to 500 kilometers. They claim little high and low, but yeah, on the traffic, everything included. 4 to 500 kilometers is a decent range for a car to come on a full charge. So if you're actually required to make a trip with your family and to and fro from here to Mysore, say, which is around 150, I'm in Bangalore, so from Bangalore to Mysore, it's around 150 to 200 kilometers together with some, you go around and come back on a weekend trip of around 3 hours journey. You are at the mercy of that traffic, your mercy of the road, your mercy of the quality of the infrastructure which is there and all. If something goes wrong, then you are stuck in middle of the road. You don't have a battery charger, which is actually there in this. Even if you have to charge your car again, the biggest problem for you is the time it takes for you to charge completely, right? So this is an infrastructure issue for you to use electric car effectively. Within the city limits, it makes sense. But once you start taking it out, because car is not just for point to point, right? You want to enjoy taking it out on a weekend or something. So that's the infrastructure support which is still missing for EV cars to be adopted. The day that comes in, you have EV charging stations across, and you'll have instantaneous, like your phones, right? I mean, you remember we used to keep our phones overnight charging. How many of you remember this, right? So when I started my phone a decade back or a decade and a half back, I used to keep it overnight charging, and morning is to when you used to have complete charging. Now it's all instantaneous, right? In fact, I bought a phone, Samsung S24, I mean Ultra, which takes around 2 hours for me to charge. I'm like, 2 hours is not okay because my previous phone was actually P30 Pro, which used to charge within 35-40 minutes. So now we want everything instantaneous, right? So that's the kind of infrastructure we're talking about. That's the first and foremost thing when you talk about edge computing challenges also, right? The next is data security and privacy. So when you talk about privacy and data security, we talked about it, right? It's a double-edged sword. Though it is actually going to provide you a lot of thing from the intruders, it also provides a threat for your information because when you store information on your phone, do you know that how many people have played Angry Birds? I'm just recollecting this. How many people have played Angry Birds? Hello? Yeah.
We have played.
Very famous, right? Angry Birds is very, very famous. I'm sure most of us have actually played Angry Birds. There was one US ex-DOD guy talking about in the conference. I saw it in YouTube short, where he was saying that Angry Birds would collect the IMEI number from your phone, and then it actually sends it to the third party. It actually collects it and stores it in its database. Then it will actually every phone that is installed Angry Bird, I'm sure will have the IMEI number copied in its database, and then that has actually transferred that on an unauthorized. I would not say the country name and all. People can think of it. So unauthorized channel, it has actually sent the information to a country, and the country actually then know different parameters. It seems. Again, I'm not the one who's quoting this. This is actually something I heard on YouTube. I don't even know the authenticity of this, but I'm just telling you, right? This actually a simple game like Angry Bird can do this. We never would expect. What would they do with my IMEI number, right? But this has actually happened. It seems. It seems. I don't know. But you can think of data security. So we are all sitting ducks in that case, right? There are a lot of apps like this which are collecting your sensing information. You can just open your thing. You go to permission manager in your phones and see what and all the apps are asking for what and all permissions. Your SMSs are actually being read. Your phone calls are being checked. Your contacts are being checked into. Oh, Truecaller. One more example is Truecaller, right? I'm sure Truecaller is something which we have been using left, right, top, bottom. Again, this is something which I came to know that Truecaller, if you install Truecaller in your phone, you have to share your contact list to it, right? So not just your contacts, it will also know it not just on your phone, it will also know the people who are actually there. The phone numbers and the phone people of entire thing which is in your contact list are also known to Truecaller. So in a way, Truecaller is actually building the entire database of people across the world, right? In a way. You'll actually have ISD numbers, you'll have ST numbers, you'll have local numbers everywhere. So it'll actually have this. Same is the case with WhatsApp. There was a discussion with Mr. Elon Musk when he actually took right? Twitter, and then he became X. So there was a question. I'm sure this is a very famous video that was there in the YouTube and people should have seen. So he said he's not interested in reading every message, but he said I'm also interested in only sensitive information. But how do you know without actually contracepting every message which comes? How do you know whether it's sensitive or not? You will only know when you read it, right? Or you scan it. So in a way, every message is being scanned for sensitive information, and only the sensitive information things are being held out. So in a way, I'm sure we are all in the moment you touch a phone, your information is all public, right? Everyone knows your names, everyone knows your card numbers, everyone will know your contact details, everyone know your home addresses. So we are part of the global regime, and that is where the data security and privacy becomes very, very. And by the way, we know what happened to the Facebook guy, right? He has been screwed in. Have you seen the court case which happened in US? Guys, have you seen that? No? Yes. Facebook shares the location of your, right? I mean, whenever Facebook.
Where he was asked whether Zuckerberg would be comfortable sharing his
Yes.
accommodation, right? Yeah.
Exactly, right? So by default, Facebook used to share the information of your location, right? People used to, though they are interested or not, Facebook used to share it. So the question, I mean, for those of you who were not there, it's actually right. Thanks a lot for putting it again back. So Zuckerberg was actually asked by the plenary court, right, the jury, whether he'll be actually interested or he'll be comfortable to share his location, okay, where he's doing, what is he doing on an everyday basis. He said no to it, but his company is doing it, right? So that is what is data security and privacy. So when the systems become more intelligent, it's actually prone to actually have these attacks also, right? That's one more thing. And data management governance, same thing. I mean, you will not know how much of data can be sent, what data can be sent. You have to have proper governance system on it. Local laws should support it. India, unfortunately, is not in that prime. I mean, Europe, right? Europe actually is very, very stringent about the data which is being shared out of Europe. I'm not sure if you have got a chance to work with any European customer. I have done it in my past. To get a log file, I mean, we have deployed some systems there, and to get a log from the device where if it's installed in the EMEA region, to be not EMEA, I would say Europe, especially in the Europe region, it has to be scanned. It has to be, we have to give a report that this doesn't have any sensitive information like your passwords, your logging, your longitude, latitude. Because I work for a telco company, and telco company has all this information which is there as part of it, right? The log has to be scanned, and then Romania was a place where it was a gateway. So Romania has a little relaxed laws than the rest of Europe. So Romania was a gateway through which the code, the log files, I'm talking log files used to flow in and out. So you can know how stringent it is there. In India, we are not that stringent about governance and all. I mean, we have heard about, by the way, these days, the moment you call someone, it actually talks about, what is it called as? They're talking about house arrest, right? Digital house arrest. Yeah, digital house arrest is a new word which is actually a big trend. So that's again happening because of the governance, the data management, and other stuff and all, right? Next comes scalability. We just talked about how many billions of devices which are there. So to have so many devices being connected, you require to actually have a system which is scalable, right? Which can do scale up, scale down, which should be able to cater to so much of wide variety of information flowing in. So your system should be scalable. Your system should be intelligent enough to actually perceive every information which flows in and out, and should be able to retrieve the data in a way that it doesn't mingle with one another. I mean, it doesn't actually mismatch the information from one to other, right? All these things are possibilities. Then is edge device diversity. I mean, again, the same thing. I'm just talking about scalability. One is about the count. The other is actually kind of in devices that you have in the count also. Uh, what again? I'm talking about autonomous cars and cars in specific. The way Indian market has opened up, right? We primarily had what when I was a kid. I could only see ambassadors. I could only see Marutis. I can see Premier Padminis as the common cars. Here and there, Contessa Classic or Merc or something. It was like oh, big thing. Now, if you go on road, you don't even know how many cars are getting released. Mahindra has released like 4 to 5 cars in the last quarters, right? 2 quarters. Mahindra Tata is actually coming up with its own thing. I'm talking of Indian customers. It's Indian manufacturer itself. Apart from that, see, Ford could not compete with Indian market because of the way the market was flowing on. So Ford had to quit Indian market, and now it's trying to revise itself, get it up, and coming back with a new regime. So every day we are getting new cars into the Kia is actually doing. Kia promised that they'll be releasing 3 new cars every year, right? So I'm just talking about diversity of devices on autonomous cars itself. That's one of the use cases we just talked about. It's the same if you apply on the smart TVs, your IoT devices, your home appliance and all. It's mind-boggling device number, right? So that's what device diversity we're talking about. And first and foremost thing of everything of these things, when you talk about edge and being handheld device, the far edge device and all, the most important thing is energy consumption, right? I just talked about the car, right? The electric cars as an example. So power and energy constraints are critical when you talk about this. You require devices which are very less power constrained to actually being able to have very big durability on that, right? That's actually something which is critical. Also, the kind of infrastructure you provide for actually powering it out. Gone are the days where you can actually have huge UPS systems at home. Now we are talking about solar-based systems. Almost every house that's getting new built actually has a solar system, solar powered also. So power and energy constraints are also taken into consideration, and that's again a challenge for edge computing. Then latency and response time. Okay, you're talking about this system being smart. So you want instantaneous information right now. I open it and it opens after 5 minutes. Forget about minutes. Even if you open for after seconds, I'm not happy with it. How many times actually happened to you that you installed a game? It's a statistics which says Google Play Store. I'm an Android guy. I'm not iOS guy, so I can talk about Android. Reasons is that I want flexibility. I don't want it to be constrained, right? I want to do my own programming. I want to do my own stuff with my own stuff. So when I talk about Android devices, there is a statistics which says that many of the games and apps which are installed in Android, the resilient time for a user to keep it or uninstall is 30 seconds, it seems. So users have become so much frickled now that within 30 seconds, if he's impressed with the app, he'll keep it. Otherwise, he'll install it. I'm sure most of us done it, right? How many of you have done that? Let's be frank. I have done it many a times. I have actually installed a lot of things. I order groceries from the big baskets and Zeptos and Blinkits and all that. And many of the other apps, I don't want to take names right now. I don't want to put anyone in bad or good. But many of the other apps, I keep on trying it. If I don't like it, I'll install then and there. Then and there. That's it. I don't require to even go back to it. So I'm sure you have also done that, right? So response time, latency, the usability. Usability is also one more thing, but those all things are also critical here. I'm talking about user side. Of course, it also talks about the functionality of it, the performance of it. These all things are also coming as part of response time latency, right? Then monitoring and maintenance. Well, I bought a device. I don't have a proper maintenance for that. I will not be interested to buy it again. For sure. By the way, Indians have one more thing, right? We call it resale value. Okay. The reason why Maruti is so popular in India, or Toyota is so popular in India is the resale value. So even if before you buy a car, you think of the resale value of the car and buy it, right? So Tata was not a big issue with this because Tata was not having a good resale market before. They're catching up right now. They are actually having a different kind of schemes which are being actually provided for the users that will buy back. Have you seen these phones giving this buyback guarantee? Have you seen smartphones giving buyback guarantee? Have you seen this recently? Any phone which is like Samsung has a buyback guarantee, iPhone has a buyback guarantee. I'm sure even Vivo actually has a buyback guarantee that says that within this match of time, within 2 years, if you want to sell it back, sell the car back, we'll give you 60%, 70%, 80%, depending on the range of the phone. So that is the kind of thing that they're going to give. So they say that, okay, if you sell this phone within this time, we have this much of buyback guarantee for you, right? Because that's actually talking about the maintenance effort. Monitoring is critical. Again, monitoring is something which the reason why monitoring is last is because that comes across all these 7 segments also, right? Because monitoring is critical for you. You should be monitoring your connectivity. You should be monitoring your data privacy, data management, scalability, edge device diversity, power and edge constraints, and latency. All these things also to be monitored. Guys, interest of time going slow. Let me know if I have to fast. Ajit, let me know actually. Is it okay to go at this pace or?
Yeah, fine, Seshu.
I think we have time today, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. Yeah. So now comes the point of how can I solve this problem? So I talked about challenges. I talked about introduction, maybe not a brief introduction for sure, introduction about what and all are the purviews of having an intelligent edge computing and intelligent as a next step to it. Now we talk about StarlingX. So I found StarlingX to be one of the things that can actually help, or it could be the mainstream, which can actually have add-ons with which we can actually achieve this. Why I'm actually saying this is because I work on StarlingX and I've seen many use cases where StarlingX is being used. And we have achieved this even in the POCs. We have done demos on MWC also, where we have got very good feedback for this, right? So in short, StarlingX is a complete cloud infrastructure software stack. Why it's a stack? Because we'll just talk about that. It provides you end-to-end. It's actually it provides you a private cloud on-prem right from zero-touch provisioning. That is as good, when you buy a laptop from the vendors, right, you can buy 2 different ways. One, you actually install all the software, you buy it right from the vendor where you have the installed OS in that. It could be Mac, it could be Windows. And then you are actually having, even if you take Windows and all, you'll actually have MS Office also installed, right? You'll actually have end-to-end thing of it, Windows 11 with all the packages included, the antivirus, you'll actually have the software. I mean, for example, MS Office, you will have the Word documentation, you'll have everything. Depending on the usage, you will actually install Eclipse or your NetBeans, or you'll actually install your CAD files and other things. That's how it works, right? There is another way in which you do it, that you will decide how much RAM should be there. You will actually have the complete configuration done by yourself, right? So you'll buy the bare metal. That is actually you'll buy only the laptop on it. Then you'll install your OS on that. You'll install your software right from there, right? You'll actually enable the software right from there. So there are 2 different ways in which you can do it. So StarlingX actually provides both the ways. In fact, it is the software. It's an open source based software, which is a part of OIF, which can actually provide you on-prem cloud right from the day go. So you just provide a device there and you plug the device underlay. It can configure your firmware, it can configure your BIOS, it can configure your OS, then it can even bring up Kubernetes in it and also the applications on top of it. So it can do end-to-end of this, right? So that is actually what we are talking about, the software stack for the edge. Okay, used by most demanding applications. Like it can be used in IoT, it can be used in telecom, video delivery, because of the ultra latency use cases. Because it takes very footprint. We'll talk about the features of StarlingX in the coming slides. It actually can give you it can be used in use case where ultra low latency and small footprint are critical. So also one thing about StarlingX is it provides you both. You can see the stack here, which I have put it. It provides you 2 kinds of infra. One is, of course, it works on the low latency Debian software. And we are talking about low latency. StarlingX provides you both real-time and non-real-time based OS installation, right? When you say real-time, it goes vertical, it becomes mono-threaded. It actually provides you configurations which actually are more sensitive to information than doing multiprocessing. So you can actually select whether you want to have system doing a lot of processes, each of them having their own resilient, or you want to actually have them go deep into one specific process and being waiting. For example, okay, just take an example. This car having airbag system, right? Car airbag system should be instantaneous, right? We want that system which is actually monitoring the crash to be giving you to be reacting in a nanosecond or a picosecond, right? We don't want that to wait for something. So for those systems, what we do is we keep very, very the chipset which is actually there. We call it RTOS, real-time operating system, where it will be monitoring only that specific sensor. The sensor, once it hits, if it actually gets activated, it doesn't take time much. It just reacts to it and it gives you the airbag out, right? So such information where you require mission critical, for example, cardiac surgeries, right? Cardiac surgery, all the equipment which are used are highly sensitive by time frame actually and the sensor times. So they'll be monitoring the patient's pulse, they'll be monitoring the BP, they'll be monitoring the way patients, the psychological effect is. All these missions are giving instance values and they are very high on reacting to it. That something goes wrong, they'll be giving you information then and there, right? So that is where low latency is critical, and it actually provides StarlingX provides you both ultra low latency, that is actually where you have RTOS, as well as your normal way of processing where you have multi-processing, where your focus is on multi-processing. So depending on use case, you can install it either way, right? Also, this is very scalable because you have the system which is distributed. By distributed, what we mean is we have one centralized cloud. We can actually have a distributed cloud using StarlingX, where StarlingX can actually be distributed, can have one central cloud, and then you can have all the worker clouds, which are called subclouds, being deployed across it. So with that, the advantage is you can actually have a plethora of scalability between this. And one central cloud of StarlingX can manage up to 3,000. Yeah, it was 1,000 before, 1,000 till the last release. And this is the coming up release. We have around 3,000 subclouds that can be managed with one central cloud. So the scale at which it can do deployments is again immense, right? And that is what is distributed edge cloud. Also, StarlingX provides you two different flavors of it. One on the OpenStack and KVIM, where it does VMs. It also provides you a container mode of doing it based on if you have container-based workloads, it can actually do it on Kubernetes also. So it provides you those two. Then it has Helm-based deployments, Flux CD for its CI/CD to work with. It actually provides you Docker registry where you can actually have your own hook onto external Docker systems and actually onboard it. Infrastructure orchestration is possible, as I talked about. The firmware, the BIOS, everything is right from the go of a bare metal device. It can do a COTS-based bare metal device complete configuration and make it enable for you from remote, by the way. Right? It can do on-prem as well as remote also. It also provides FCAPs. Most of the FCAPs are actually there. Then it's also extendable because you can actually add more plugins to it and actually extend it further also. Then, of course, these are all the services that it provides. And as I said, it actually works on low latency Linux, which is Debian, actually providing you both real-time as well as non-real-time based configurations depending on your usage. That's the key features we just talked about. Okay. So because of the versatility it provides, it can be used in multiple use cases. We just talked about the kind of use case we are talking about, right? So it can provide automation because it is low latency and low power. By the way, one more critical thing of StarlingX, I have a separate slide, but I want to talk about it right now, is that the management cluster of this StarlingX, that includes the worker, the controller, the storage, and the worker will take one single core on a device. So if you have a 30, for example, XR11, okay, common Dell family device is XR11, right? Which is a 32 core, I would say, blade. So what StarlingX actually takes, depending on the kind of family of it, if it's actually Ice Lake or Sapphire Rapid, if it's Ice Lake, it takes two physical cores. If it's Sapphire Rapid, it just takes one physical core. So it just takes one physical core for its management payload or management workload, and remaining 31 cores are available for you to run your applications, which is critical for you, which is actually where you require to actually have more space. For example, I'll tell you, if you talk about iPhone, right? iPhone actually, of course, now even Androids are doing the same, but iPhone previously used to come with a fabricated, they are the ones who actually come with fabricated storage, right? You cannot extend your storage. So the problem would be that in that 120, if you take 128 GB of phone, out of which 16 to 17 GB is actually taken by the phone itself. I mean, the iOS and the applications across, the default, the de facto things which comes as part of package, right? Now it's actually extended further also. It takes almost 28 to 30 GB. So that much space is actually taken by this phone software itself. So what you're left for your storage, your phones, your data is actually very limited, right? That is a problem which is usually seen with all these edge devices.
So, Seshu, you're saying only one core is enough to run the whole controller?
Yes.
The core services of, I assume you're talking about the core services of the OpenStack, right?
No. I'm not talking of OpenStack. I'm talking about this core services.
Okay.
See, OpenStack works as a payload on that, right?
Okay,
You bring up OpenStack as a Helm application. So I'm not talking about, I'm talking of this application here, bottom.
Okay, the features of the StarlingX, right?
StarlingX. See, StarlingX enables Kubernetes for you on one core, in short.
Okay.
So till this box is what it takes one core on and Sapphire Rapid and two cores on Ice Lake. Anyways, Ice Lake is of course is almost outdated. Now we have Sapphire Rapid Plus and all right. So till here, I would say this containers in OpenStack. Reason why OpenStack has been placed here is we run OpenStack as a Helm chart or as a Kubernetes application. So that application will have its own constraint, but this part of it, which till here, right?
Okay.
Flux CD, Helm and all these things actually takes one core.
Okay. Then
Once
it's a
upon a
very low footprint, right?
Yes, yes.
Probably.
And that is the reason why we have StarlingX usage in everything, right?
Okay.
See, why I'm talking about StarlingX as edge devices, that you're getting it right now, right? Because edge devices are your phones, your IoT devices, all, which actually require you to have very minimal space. You cannot keep a huge hard disk attached to it. So you
Correct.
require to actually work on very small footprint, right? That is the criticality with which StarlingX works. Hence,
Okay.
you can see all these use cases. By the way, these use cases which I'm talking about are in production. I'm not talking about POCs. Okay,
Okay.
StarlingX, the commercial version of StarlingX is of course WRCP, Wind River Cloud Platform, but StarlingX as such is being used in all these things end of the day. It's 1:1, right? So robotics, smart medical industry, whatever we talked about so far, right? I hope now it makes sense. And of course,
Yeah.
the reason why I put a question mark is we are waiting for the 5G rollout, right? 5G has been done by the telcos so far, but we don't have a 5G use case as such. Let's be frank. There's no killer app, right?
Okay.
There's no killer app of 5G yet. All these times we have to talk about everything that we talk about can be done even in 4G phone also, right? I mean, Netflix is you will use phone for what? You will use phone for YouTube's, for Netflix, for video streaming. Okay, in short, video streaming for ordering your own groceries, for making a enterprise based shopping, for e-shopping, I would say, right? Ordering all the e-shopping things and all, or you'll actually have a video call, you'll actually have streaming, and all these things can be done in 4G. So we don't have any killer app which is facing. Of course, we have a lot of things in POC level where we talk about remote healthcare, we talk about remote building, which can be done, infrastructure building that can be done. All these use cases are great. I mean, we also talk about VR, IR, in fact, but the supporting apps are missing, right? The supporting app and the kind of infrastructure we talk about is missing. So I put a question mark to see even the future is future ready. So with what we have today, we have supporting all this, but once the future ready things, StarlingX can also support them for sure, right? That's the thing which is critical here. So how StarlingX powers intelligence? I think I just talked about this. One is about the AML at edge, which is critical for you to have intelligence, right? So StarlingX can support containerization AI workloads like your TensorFlow, PyTorch, and all. And because it takes so much less footprint, you have more space to run your applications along with this AI applications also, right? And then integrates with Kubeflow and ML pipelines. This is something which is getting evolved as we spoke about. And that is where, again, I'm talking about the open source arena of this, where you can use StarlingX++ with respect to those applications, and that enables your edge to be intelligent, right? Then low latency processing, as I said, because it has its own, I mean, StarlingX actually talks to your kernel. It actually installs your own OS also. It's critical that it can actually have, I mean, the way it actually talks to kernel is that it actually makes sure that it doesn't take too much of processing time, one, and other is also power, both the things. Low latency from processing is actually critical because it takes low decision making, and without cloud dependency. It has a lot of dependency software, which usually, if you take a software on top of it, like OTT on top of your existing hardware, it has to do a lot of bindings because it actually comes as a package. The IOS installs everything for you. It enables you to have low latency out of the box. All right. Stability and resiliency, again, the same thing which I just talked about. Scalability and resiliency. Stability also comes in part of this. Automated node recovery and load balancing is again out of the box from StarlingX, because we are talking about a system which is actually building. It knows its hardware. It knows its infrastructure. It knows its IaaS pass, in short, right? IaaS pass in the cloud arena I can talk about. In Edge, of course, it knows the kind of device that you are inserting into. It actually takes a corner of this. It keeps the entire space for you, both from power consumption, both from your footprint. The footprint demands of it is pretty low, right? Security, we have integrations with secure boot, encrypted storage, and zero trust principles. You can actually configure your policies also on top of StarlingX, which you can do much more secure things. And yeah, last but not the least, actually lowest footprint requirements. I just talked about that in the previous time also. So small spaces, hence real edge devices can be using it. So StarlingX is getting integrated with ARM also. In fact, StarlingX was working with AMD. It was working with Intel, Dell, HP. Of course, they are the families. It also is integrated with ARM right now, and ARM is the future for your all edge devices, right? Where you're talking about chipsets which are pretty small. Then NVIDIA, we can also support NVIDIA GPU out of the box. with which you can actually add more power to that compute power. So one is about what is coming out of the box, and if you want to add more things, like the way we have gaming computers and gaming systems which are coming up, right? You have this base system, but if you want to include it, you actually add more GPUs to it, right? That is how it's also possible. The integration is actually out of the box again with respect to StarlingX. So in short, how it works is StarlingX becomes your platform on which these all things work. I mean, I've put all those resilient points which I'm talking about. Then your cloud infrastructure can be built on it. It could be public cloud, it could be private cloud, it could be hybrid cloud, it could be far edge, or it could be mission critical edge, right? And this is where the intelligent edge is going to come into picture. So this entire things can be done because end of the day, it's a cloud, right? But what we are enabling is we are enabling you to add more device to it. And as a cloud, it takes the least amount of space and energy and gives you least least amount of time to be responsive to you. So higher response, low footprint, and you being able to actually manage everything in a corner of the device and letting the device actually have its own space. You can enable it into, you can embed it into multiple forms and shapes. This is a roadmap also, by the way, right? So because of that, you have the intelligent systems which can work on this. Hence, StarlingX enables you to actually have all these things. And that was the topic I was talking about. I hope it's making sense, right? Any questions on this, guys, in this slide? This slide is very verbose, but I try to put the stage. I try to set the stage for this slide to be made before, right? Hoping it's making sense. Does it make sense? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Shishu.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
fine.
Fine. So yeah, the touching every point of the intelligent life cycle. So when you talk about intelligent system to be brought up, the important things are that you require to have deployment. Of course, you require to develop that first, DevSecOps and other things. Then you require to deploy it. Then you require to make operations on it, and then finally service. So all these 4 points are going hand in hand with StarlingX. In fact, why can we budging about StarlingX so much is we know that in ORAN SC, right? ORAN is one of the biggest use case of telco, which is futuristic in nature because we are talking about disaggregated systems and all. As of today, StarlingX is the de facto cloud. Okay, because of the way the system requires your ORAN system works, it is required to work where you have central cloud. You can actually add the subclouds on the fly, where you can add and delete the scalability of it and the compute power and all. StarlingX is providing it out of the box without making any changes. So that's one more use case where this is an example of that use case. I mean, example, I'm saying deployment, development, operation service, everything is actually coming out of the box from the StarlingX system, right? So these are some of use cases. Again, intelligence system use case, I think we talked about it. I'll not be repeating it again. So each of these use case has its own thing, and how it comes, the entire value system when brought is, you will actually have, again, this is the ORAN part, which I was just talking about. So you'll actually have a traditional RAN, which is there on the mobile operators. This is the current scenario of PNF being running with the traditional RAN. You will have digital pipeline, digital twins, which is actually where you can bring up the RAN vendors. And then the partner program. Partnership program is where you will club StarlingX with those other elements which are required for you. So it will become the enabled platform where you will actually add more to it. That's how the ORAN also works, right? ORAN or your vRAN, your CRAN, your DRAN, all the RAN systems that we talk about are working the same similar thing. And then the partnership program also includes on the devices which you're talking about. For example, autonomous vehicles, if you are talking about, the car should have that information or the intelligence in which it can communicate to each other. We have drone-based parcel. I mean, here I put this diagram because this is again a futuristic thing. We have already seen it happening, right? Where Amazon actually is no more going with their trucks. They want Amazon pick up drones. They'll actually deliver it to a specific house, right? That's also possible. So all these things are possibilities of how you can actually enable the edge connectivity and last mile connectivity. One of the use cases V2X. V2X includes vehicle, vehicle to device, vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to home, and vehicle to network. So one of the use cases I just talked about is that driverless car, right? Driverless car or driverless cab. So where your device, your vehicle is actually at one more smart device that you connect to, and then you can actually communicate to it. You can actually operate it remotely. So this is a use case which is actually happening, and we are also working with a company called Aptiv, in fact, where we are seeing how it can be done. This again, one more thing, micro device compatibility. You know, the smart suitcases we are talking about. The picture of this is actually a smart suitcase, which follows you wherever you go. You can become completely hands-free. Well, it has its own pros and cons. I know in India, it may not be a use case which is that easy. In airports, yes, for sure, but not on the roads and all. For sure, it's not that feasible because of various reasons. I don't want to talk. So, but it actually becomes what will actually do is robot Shipra, right? It becomes like a Sherpa for you where you will be able to control everything. Autonomous behavior with enhanced features, possibilities, and all. So, this is one more use case, which is a possibility with a system like this. Yeah, this is a quick wrap up then because it's of the new portable and scalable StarlingX distributed cloud deployment architecture capable of supporting both private and public cloud, on-prem hybrid clouds. We can actually provide horizontal vertical scaling. I would say again, a hybrid scaling part of it, which is possible. You can actually add more workloads on the fly. You can actually scale the workloads on the fly. So optimizations are possible because of the lower footprint. You can actually add new optimizations to it. You will pay for, you will actually have more space for your applications to run, and the cloud is taken everything. All the cloud part is taking a single core or a dual core, depending. Single core, of course, going forward. That is where we are talking about. So all these things are possible. Adoption is going global, getting involved and join us. So one request from the StarlingX community I'm actually presenting that right now is for people to come join us. We can actually explore further options on this. We can see how to make this much more successful, right? This is the list of how you can join StarlingX as such. Mailing list is here, and Freenode IRC website is actually there. The code is free for you. It's Apache 2 licensing, so you can actually free to download it. You can actually do your experimenting on it. Any questions on this, please get back to us. Thank you. Any questions, guys?
Yeah, session was very good. We have a question from Nilesh. Nilesh, maybe you want to read out the question, or you want me to read out the question, or you want to ask it?
Somehow I missed the chat. Sorry. Was it in the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to take it forward, yeah, Ajit, you can continue.
Yeah.
OpenStack Helm on top of any customization. Okay. That's your question, right, Nilesh? Is this based on OpenStack?
Just wanted to understand the underlying technology. Is the OpenStack is deployed, or the whole platform is built on the OpenStack Helm, or
No.
any customization?
Okay, let me bring up the architecture slide. I think the question was coming from architecture, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the other way. Actually, OpenStack Helm is deployed as on top of StarlingX. StarlingX is actually bringing up Kubernetes, vanilla Kubernetes on top of bare metal.
Okay.
Nilesh.
Okay.
Right.
So it is the Kubernetes built on bare metal, and
Yes.
then the OpenStack is a container Kubernetes based control plane, right?
Yes.
Control.
Okay.
Yes.
And here you can see the OpenStack is actually as application. You see the containers here, Helm hosted containers workloads. So OpenStack and
Session,
KVM
your
is.
screen is
not shared here.
Oh, is it? Okay. Share it.
And then you are running OpenStack as a Helm operators.
Yes, but this OpenStack actually will be able to communicate because the advantage of StarlingX is it is viable both the ways. You can see the services that I'm talking about. We have Horizon, Ceph, right? Apache, Docker, Calico, Postgres. So these all things are the CNI. They are all services coming out of the box from StarlingX. So you provide CNI, CSI out of the box, right? And basically this is a stack, right? What StarlingX does is that first it sets the OS, right? And as part of OS, it takes care of the BIOS and firmware also and configurations which are required. So day zero is what it does, and then your OS is installed. It's a step which is, you will not be able to, you don't require to see this completely. It's actually zero touch. You just click on installation and it does this. Then it'll actually bring up all the services on top of it, your Postgres, your etcds and other things for your different kinds of the storage part, right? Ceph is actually there for this again, for storage. Then it brings up the Horizon for your connectivity. It actually uses those services which are similar to OpenStack, right? It actually provides you the connectivity with HTTPS and all. And then it brings up the service management depending on the kind of deployment. StarlingX actually, maybe I'll take a session on that specifically, where I can talk about different flavors of StarlingX. So StarlingX provides you different flavors of installation. One of them being a standalone cloud or standalone on one server, right? I can actually have the entire cloud on it where you can have the connectivity. I can provide you distributed cloud. That's what I was talking about here, right? Where you will actually have one single cloud which can manage multiple subclouds, and you can actually do subcloud additions and deletions on the fly, LCM of that. All those things are possible. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And the OS installation is also automated.
Yes, this entire
Oh,
thing till here is automated. This entire thing till here is automated.
okay,
And this
okay.
containers, we can even onboard containers also. By the way, even OpenStack is automated also. OpenStack is also
Mhm.
automated. That's where you depends on whether you want to take that use case. Depending on the use case, if you have a VM-based use case, we provide both KubeVirt as well as OpenStack-based flavors, right, out of the
Mhm.
box. Well, if you want to just use containers, then it's actually also possible. We can even deploy containers also. So the way is here, in short, if you have the configuration, we have it's actually in short, we have a YAML-based configuration that's actually possible, DevSecOps, right? And you give the infrastructure with that, along with the Helm charts, the details of which Helm chart should be deployed, you actually do end-to-end.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, thank
I
you.
hope I've
Thank
answered your question about OpenStack. It's not the other way, right? You thought OpenStack is bottom and then StarlingX coming up. It's the other way out, right?
you. And that was my thought process.
Yeah. By the way, when I started to learn about StarlingX, even I thought so. Let me be very frank.
Mhm. Yes,
Because
I have one question.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, no, just to add to that, Nilesh, right? Nilesh, because it's an open infra, I thought it's an extension to OpenStack. Yeah, yeah, Ajit.
So,
Sorry,
Sech, I
sorry.
have this question.
Yeah.
Generic is not technical. The adoption wise, how was it in India? Because we're talking about India ecosystem, which
Great.
is laid back, which is a known open secret. But just wanted to understand because you have first-hand experience, right? So, how
Yes.
was the adoption in India? How
India, we
was it?
are not yet gone into production. We have a lot of POCs which are running because StarlingX started as a product which is more Western. Okay, reason is
Okay.
again, um, in short, I can say ORAN being the use case first to start with. Telco was the main target for StarlingX. Okay,
Okay.
distributed cloud and other things and all, right? We are talking about, and India is not yet ready for ORAN. That's number
Okay.
one. Okay.
Okay.
Having said that, StarlingX is also used in enterprises. Enterprise, we have again a lot of use cases where StarlingX is used, both
Is
commercial
it
version.
because they are in sixth gen, latest generation when it comes to telecom? Because I'm not aware of telecom very much.
It's not that alone because see, frankly speaking, if you talk about cloud computing, it doesn't matter what sort of use case you bring in, right? It could be any G. It could be 3G, 4G, 5G, or 6G also, right?
Okay.
It's not that alone, but it's adoption which comes up. And one more thing with StarlingX is StarlingX actually was more West focused. It had a lot of support from China initially.
Okay.
The development team was in China also.
Okay.
Again, I'm talking about prior to Trump, number one, right? Trump first election part. So a lot of
Okay.
things were happening. Now they have moved the development team. Although we have some Chinese developers supporting from on the open source,
Mhm.
we have other communities also members, especially Europe, US, India also is actually picking up on that. Maybe
Okay.
that could be also reason. Again, I started StarlingX from 2023, right? Prior to
23.
that, this was a thing. And in fact, I'm happy to answer Nilesh because that's exactly what I thought when I was reading StarlingX before. We were doing a computer analysis with StarlingX when we were doing something called OpenO. OpenO
Okay.
was a project which was mainly supported by the global telco partners before
Mhm.
ONAP came in. And what we were looking for is a cloud platform, right? When we looking at that, StarlingX also was one contender on that.
Okay.
So when I initially started, I thought it's OpenStack, but when I read it, I was like, oh, it's not OpenStack, it's the other way around. So then we even had done the integration with them also, StarlingX. That's when I got introduced to StarlingX. By the way.
Okay. Okay. So definitely, I think our current audience itself, I think many people would have got interested. Uh, Please reach out to Sesh after this call also offline. We'll get the coordinates shared. I am sure we'll have more interest people contributing to this because I spoke to OpenStack, I mean StarlingX guys in one of the summit.
Mhm.
They are badly looking for contributors.
Yes.
Unlike OpenStack, right? OpenStack is already having a large pool of contributors. StarlingX has just started,
Yes.
so they are in need of contributors. So I'm sure we'll have.
See,
Uh,
the other important thing is when you're talking about enterprises, again, I don't want to take the name of the company, but I'm sure you'll know it. We have also done a POC of Enterprise Edge with one of the biggest operator in India.
okay.
Okay. It was very successful. We were competing with 12 different vendors of cloud providers, I would say, coming from different demographics and different use cases. So I'm happy to say that we were top 2 in that.
Okay. So
Starting
just
experience.
the verge of adoption, production.
No,
Is it
production
in
didn't
verge of-
go. It didn't go to production because of the reason that Enterprise Edge has been delayed in India. The rollout of Enterprise Edge has been delayed, right? But
Okay.
if it comes up, we will have a chance again to do it. But what I wanted to emphasize is on StarlingX is not just for telco; it can also be used for any kind of application, and that's the reason why I'm talking about intelligent edge, right? Intelligent edge, when you talk about, it's actually more of enterprise. Yeah.
Right.
It's the other way. If telcos are more sensitive, in fact, I'll tell you, because we require high scale, we require high resiliency, we require high throughput, right? Or low throughput, in fact. So the way we are talking about here is that if something is built for telco, it's easy for us to adapt to enterprises.
Right. Because that is the most demanding vertical,
Yes.
right? Telco is always the most demanding
Yes.
vertical.
So
So they
Deepak, I think
actually-
you had raised your hand.
Hello. Hi, sir. I just had a little doubt actually. Can you switch to the slides, like slide number 3, like where you have explained about the edge intelligence?
Sure. Oh, you also remove the slide number. I'm happy for that.
A little.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, correct. Exactly this one.
Okay.
So here you explained about this billions of devices, IoT devices, which is connected, like, right? And approx 79.4 zettabyte of the data is being used by the 2025, right?
This is not okay. This is actually a metric that is coming as part of one of the publications.
Okay, the expected ratio, right?
Expected, right?
So I just had the little doubt, like with this, the billions of the IoT connection, like how scalable our current infrastructure is, and like in the case of the potential failures or something in the overload of the edge devices, how we are going to handle it, or like you've already explained in the scalability and all this, but still I just wanted to know a little more. And one more
Right.
thing is, like when we have this much databyte of the data, like 79, approx 80, we can say. So like how do we handle, or how do we get to know that what data is worth processing? Because processing this much of data will take the lots of time, energy, plus the resources, right?
Great.
So how do we get to know that which data is worth processing and what is not to, and how do we figure it out?
Great. I'm very happy for this question. I mean, Deepak, thanks a lot. I'm really happy you made my day because you are listening to every word which I said. I just want to correct on this. See, this 79.4 zettabytes of data which we're talking about is not being handled by one single device, or it's not actually coming out of one single network, right? It's actually happening across the globe. We are talking about a global scenario. So for sure, it's a huge data, of course, and the way it's actually is also diversified across the globe. For example, we have 2 major telco operators across the globe. One is CMCC, that is actually India. And I can proudly say that Jio has actually surpassed CMCC as the biggest telco vendor also. Operator, not vendor, operator also. So you see, the network we are talking about is actually on global scale, but they're being operated by different guys at different instances. So it's not the same network which is taking it. Just to start with, I mean, it's not 79.4 or 80 zettabytes of information being handled by same network. That's the start part of this to be read. Okay. The second thing is, when you're talking about so many billions of devices or IoTs being do, these are again coming up into different scenarios. Some of them are mobile based, some of them are fixed. Most of them are fixed, I would say. Mobile IoT, I think I have to take that separate session, because once I get into it, there's no. I'm sure this stipulated time will not be. I can talk for days, right? It's such a big topic, and it's again a fascinating topic for me because mobile edges are critical to handle. It has its own challenges. Deepak, the way you asked, right? It has its own challenges because when you're in mobile, the edge actually is moving, right? So roaming actually becomes much more tough for you to do. So there are actually challenges of this. So this slide you have to read with not pinch, I would say handful of salt, which you're talking about the possibility of the kind of connections that you have and the kind of data that actually comes out of this. Deepak, if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is exactly what I talked about challenges, right? It is not that we are ready for this. We are not yet ready for this. I want to make you understand this. The challenges of having such a data is when you have so much of data coming out. If all the things have become smart and all the things are ready for do the connecting, we are not yet ready. That's where the first and foremost challenge we have is connectivity and infrastructure. You see the first challenge that we are talking about there. We are not yet ready for this. So we are looking for, hence as Ajit and also said, right, we are looking for contributors to make our system resilient for this. We are looking for contributors to make our system ready for this. We are not yet ready for this. And that's exactly the first challenge in this entire thing, right? Deepak.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. So, but what we are saying is there are two ways to look at it. First is that it's not coming on the same infrastructure. Even if it comes on infrastructure, very simple example. How many of you, I'm sure all of us are watching IPL, right? On Geo Hotstar. Have you seen the slug? Okay, because you asked, I want to talk about one simple example. I was having a bet with my kid, okay, my boy. And I told him that the next ball will be a 6. I was very sure of it. He was surprised when it was actually 6. Reason is, I just saw it. He just went out and he came back to get a glass of water. And I just saw it 30 seconds before that it was a 6 in that case. And it rolled back. So there was a delay. The transmission was delayed.
You have a small delay when you have it
Glitch.
in laptop and mobile.
Yeah,
It's
mobile, even TV also.
like-
I'm talking about, I was watching on TV and there also there was a glitch. Geo Hotstar is a glitch, right?
Right.
So the glitch actually, and he was like, how did you even guess it actually? I said, this is because it's actually running late. So I'm talking about the connectivity issue. Again, it's a connectivity and infrastructure issue, isn't it, Deepak, to answer your question? Right?
Yeah.
We are talking about live telecast, and you can see number of. I mean, I'm happy to see that part of it, right? How many telecasts are getting done? It says 14.7 crore viewers. No, it's not 14.7. It's actually so many telecasts, right? It cannot say maybe one TV is placed in a pub or in a bar or in a restaurant, and there could be 100 people watching it, or it could be in a settled place like an open sky or something, and there could be 50 people watching it. So it is actually number of telecasts it's talking about, right? You can see IPL is reaching to so many people, crores of people. Crores of telecasts, I would say, crores of televisions, right? And you never know how many people are watching that screen.
That count is about the number of devices only, right?
I
What
think
it
so.
said.
I think so,
Because
right?
it can't know,
It
right?
can't
How
say
many
number of
people are
viewers.
one.
It cannot say number of viewers,
Right.
right? Because one, as I said, if it's actually a public display or it's actually a public screen, we don't know how many people are there, right?
People are watching.
So it's already happening, by the way, Deepak. As we speak, it's already happening. And all these things, see, latency and response time, this is exactly that part, right? Because of this can also come up. Because of this can also come up. Deepak, am I
Yeah,
answering your question?
yeah, exactly. I got the answer actually.
I'm glad you asked it. I'm glad you also remember the slide number, by the way.
Anybody else wants to ask a question before we move on? As we are slightly shoot up the time, that's okay.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm not. Anybody wants to quickly ask one more last question on this session, or we can take it offline also. Anyways, we're going to
Yeah.
get connected, right? So let's move on. Anas, do you think you want to continue because it's slightly this is a
Not
very
slightly. I'm
interesting.
sorry. I saw the time now. Actually, I'm sorry
That's
for
okay.
that.
That's okay. We're very flexible, right? As a user group, it's like flexible. So, do you think all of you can handle one more session, or we'll push it for another day?
For me, it's fine to take session on the
Because
next event also. It's fine.
yeah, because it should not
Yeah,
be.
yeah. Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
uh,
Uh,
fine. So,
and
Nilesh, yeah, yeah.
I just want to tell this about Sesh's session. Someone I remember a story that someone asked, I think Abraham Lincoln, and by pointing a tree, I'm giving 8 hours to cut this tree. How will you manage? So Abraham Lincoln was replied, I'll use 7 hours to sharpen my axe and 1 hour for cutting. Same way, Sesh was explaining and spent most of the time to explain the challenges or the necessity of such a tool, Starlings, without telling the word Starlings, and finally he slided to Starlings. That the way of presentation was so good that I wish to talk this now.
Thank you.
Definitely. That's was a pretty good session. So we couldn't stop. You were let going on, right? So there is no way we can stop.
See, the
definitely,
problem was, Ajit, you opened the statement saying we don't have a time limit. And that was a mistake, actually.
it was a mistake. So,
And
but
because
then,
it was a closed-in community, see, because this was the first part of the community meeting, right? So, thing is, that's what the passion all about, right? I mean, again, answering your
you
previous thing.
never know, you keep talking, right? You sometimes you will not be able to stop. And as audience also, I don't think anybody wanted to stop you. It was going. It was very interesting. Uh, just because I was just looking at the time. I don't think anybody else was looking at the time. But anyways, it was wonderful to have you in the session, and we can connect, share the coordinates, and introduce everybody. Sesh, I'm sure guys, all young guys are here, so
I'm also
we
saying, yeah,
have.
don't say that. I'm also saying, yeah. Ajit, do not put me into that category. How dare you say that, huh?
So there are people who are looking up to you. Definitely, we can scout for
Well,
more
I'm based out of
content.
Bangalore, guys. I'm in Whitefield area. You will see me uh, across any community. I mean, I usually travel a lot for all these community meetings and all. I think I'll be very frank that I didn't prepare for this slide deck. Okay, you can see all my examples are instantaneous, right? I don't prepare this way. It just comes out. So because I've been giving global presentations across from 2016, and I can tell you because Ajit was talking about young guys and chaps coming out of college and all. One thing for sure is just find your passion and things will fall in place.
Yeah,
Simple.
yeah, that's the key. That's the key for
It's okay.
success. Right, everybody.
Right.
Nilesh, you want to introduce uh, quickly before we wrap up for today? Probably you can switch on the cam. That will give more, That's why I wanted to keep it on. Not mandatory, but yes, that will be, you can.
Actually, the option is not enabling here.
Okay. So you second. Is there anything like that? People, can
It
you try
actually
now? Can you
you have
try
to
now?
you're connecting from app or you're connecting from browser, Nilesh?
It's a browser.
You have to give the permission at the browser level. It's a client
Already,
level
already,
restriction.
already, already given.
You already gave it. Then,
Yeah.
Can
I
you?
don't know, but for some reason it's not working. Well, my name is Nilesh, and I'm working with ClearTrail Technologies as a technical architect. My colleagues are also, I asked them to join. Mr. Pankaj and Jobin is there. So they are also working with me. Um, and we majorly working on the emerging product, OpenStack and Kubernetes. That is our the main product. Um, and I'm being into this cloud technology from like more than a decade. Almost 8-10 years I'm into this. So my prior experience with I was with Red Hat for almost 6-7 years, then Rackspace 2 years, and now I'm working with ClearTrail Technologies as a technical architect. So yeah,
Wait,
very
Nilesh.
excited to be a part of this community, and uh, let's spread the knowledge, let's gain the knowledge, let's come together and make India open infra community, India open stack Kubernetes community be a strong player in the entire OpenStack all over the globe. So, and thank you, Ajit, for re-initiating this one actually.
Thanks,
So
Nilesh.
it's a good.
So Nilesh and friends are from Pune, so that is one thing. I think it will help the spreading,
Yes.
right? Uh, because previously it was like a lot of concentration into one closed group. I think that I don't know how far it will work. It, according to me personally, my opinion is it should be open because it's all about the user group, right? You have to listen to everybody's story, share, gather knowledge, give it out, everything. So if it is a closed group, I don't know how far it will grow. So that is why after when this reviving plan came up, the first thing we had in mind is let's have it as an open group, preferably multiple locations. We can have chapters, local chapters also, right? We can say birthday celebration. One event is happening in Bangalore. We can have a group doing the same thing in Pune or any other location, right? So that's the way to expand and have. So ultimately, the goal is, I don't know how far or near the goal is, but my personal dream is to have an open infra summit in India.
Oh, that's nice.
Right? So because countries like Korea, Vietnam, these guys are already doing it. I don't know why or what is stopping us, because we have a large number of people involved, right? Only thing is we have to bring them together, and I think it will be very easy to execute such events also in future. So that is the destiny which we are looking at.
I think it's a dream of everyone. We should have the
Right.
summit, Open Infra Summit here in the India.
Hey,
So my
if I may add, I know I'm jumping in, but one thing, Nilesh, you really said something great, man. Because this is what I've been telling, unfortunately, we have Indians in every open source community, every open stand community, but there is no representation for India.
right.
Yeah,
I'll be very frank. See,
and that's
Nilesh,
true actually.
I'm really grateful for you for bringing it, because I'm sorry if I'm taking time, but this is really critical, guys. Let me say, I have traveled to different conference on Diwali. I have traveled different conference on our New Year. I mean, on our New Year, I'm talking about South and all that. I'm talking about our different festivals we are talking about. We have actually. You see, Chinese actually, what their New Year, their Spring Festival, they will not have any conference held. Christmas will be considered a global leap. Again, I'm not talking about religion or something. Don't take me wrong. It's a fact, right? Their seasons are taken into consideration, their thing. But India, we have unfortunately no representation of India as such. We have Indians in every community. Indians are doing great. We are the ones who are actually standing in front of the thing and doing it.
Yeah,
And
if you
what
look
Neil
at the
said is
stack
absolutely right.
analytics, right? If you look at the stack analytics, every top names you'll
Are
find,
Indians, right?
but the badge would be something else. That is
Yes. And even if you go there, uh, somehow, I mean, it could be food, it could be the holidays, that season where they collect. None of us actually will have India as consideration. That's very unfortunate. And Nilesh, I'm very happy. I think we have to meet in person. Uh, I'm looking forward for that. We require to actually showcase what India can do. And if
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm sure Nilesh, you too. I'm sure people like us will have opportunity to fly out of India anytime. But we are staying back in India because we see the potential here, right? And same is the case with Ajit. So I'm sure I can read what you're talking about, right? We are here. We
But
want
actually,
India to be a highlight. I mean, I can see goosebumps coming out of it. Seriously, I'm seeing all my nerves are actually coming out of my goosebumps are coming out, because this has to happen, man. It cannot be this way that Indians are doing all the work, but there's no representation of India. No, it cannot be this way.
definitely better late than never. Let's start
Yes.
working. Key
And
will
Nilesh,
be
you really said the best parts. I mean, I'm looking forward to meet you in person, buddy.
sure. We'll have very soon.
Yeah.
definitely. So the key is to continue this effort. As I said, no dependency, because we should not have dependency on one person or a group. Everybody should be equally participate, so that it goes rolling, right? So that will have a very good impact at a long term. So yeah, that's all we had. So we'll have pushed the second session from Anas, because it's already overloaded, right? Too many things. So we'll reschedule Anas session for another day and see. So please, just one more thing before winding up. Please follow that LinkedIn page and share it, whatever is being posted, right? So that we'll have more people following it, then we'll have more people onboarded. And the Discord channel also. I think already a couple of people have joined. We can have all this discussions on Discord channel as well. Okay. Anything else? Any closing comments? suggestions for today's meetup. I think it was a wonderful effort from everybody taking time. Any closing comments, suggestions? Please feel free to add your thoughts. Anything? Anas, Nilesh, Gopi, Nitish, Jobin.
Yeah, man. For today, we are good. Let's plan for the next meetup.
Sure.
Thanks, Ajit.
Okay, guys. I think
Thanks
it's
for the
midweek,
wonderful.
midweek, midday. So I know it is very difficult uh, to make out time for this, but still, thank you once again for joining, and we'll keep the discussions offline in the Discord channel and make a plan for the next meetup soon.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Seshu. Very wonderful
Thank you so
session.
much,
Thank
guys.
you very
Have a
much.
nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
For the wonderful.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.